I'm excited to talk to you, Michael, for a very specific purpose. You have a unique background as an entrepreneur, as a technologist, as a human-centered technologist, and an overall great human being. Keen to hear about your journey as a human-centered technologist before we jump into some questions about AI.
I love technology and I love people, and I love putting those things together. I feel like my career is it's been through a lot of different phases. I'm originally studied computer science, and I feel like for the first part of my career, I was really focused on the output of my work. I was really technology focused and looking a lot into how those different pieces come together, and really focus on features and what is the technology that I created. I feel like in the middle of my career, I came across human-centered design, and it really changed how I thought about technology. I started to think more about the end goal, about how people use the technology and what kind of outcome that the technology can really create. And I feel like I learned at that time that you can create the best software ever, and if nobody uses it, it's for nothing. So I started to really think more about what people actually need and what people actually require from the technology, and put a little bit of my techie side aside, because as a technical person, it's exciting to work on those technological problems. I feel like now I call myself a human-centered technologist because I want to bring bring power to people using technology, and using the least amount of technology possible. I feel like that is key on being a human-centered technologist, is not doing technology just because it's a buzzword, just because it's out there, but doing it with a purpose. I like to joke that sometimes you need an app and sometimes you just need a spreadsheet. And if it's a spreadsheet that you need, have a spreadsheet.
So something which has frustrated and excited me is ChatGPT is now officially better at behavioral science than me. Could you tell me, like, what is going on? How did this happen? How did LLMs evolve so fast to become so powerful? And yeah, is there any role that I have left to play as a human being?
Of course, come on. I think, yes, we are humans. And that's amazing. I feel like there is a thing, there is a thought that ChatGPT can be better, but I'm not sure actually. I feel like there's a main difference between like holding the knowledge and knowing how to find the knowledge. And I feel like ChatGPT feels like it holds the knowledge since it's been trained on everything. Um, but to unlock that knowledge, you still have to know what you put into the context window and what you don't. What do you add to your chat or to your prompt, and what you don't? And I think that is a thing that a human will always have to be involved. Because ideally, if we create an AI, or if we create a piece of technology, or if we are giving a service, that service will have to benefit a human person. So I feel like it only makes sense for a human person to take control of that context window. And how does it get so fast? I think it was a perfect storm that brought AI where it is today. Um, Artificial intelligence is not a new thing. I think, like in the world of computer science, we've been doing this since the 70s. But now we have a combination of very cost-effective and energy-efficient computation units. So you can run a GPU that is relatively efficient and cheaply enough that you can train an AI. And the other side is the huge amount of data available. I think with everybody posting things online and everybody taking pictures and videos and cameras everywhere, I think that generates an amount of data that is unprecedented in the human history. So I think those two things combined make the LLM, this technology, get as far as it did. But I think the key really there is knowing how to get that knowledge out, knowing how to make the model work with you, and I think that is human.
So there's still a role I have left to play, at least for now. I feel confident with that. I believe there are some specializations. We take things for granted. I've been applying and training teams to apply behavioral science for a long time. So it's very easy for me to input very specific prompts into ChatGPT, which gives me the feeling that it's really smart and it knows much more than me. And maybe I'm undervaluing some of the own skills that I'm bringing into training and supporting ChatGPT to think like me. One of the frustrations, and it came out in our reflection earlier, is these models hallucinate. And I guess there's two ways of looking at it. Is that a feature of the model, or is that a bug of the model? Could you explain a little bit about hallucinations and what we might want to do about it?
As an entrepreneur that understands marketing and how you have to market your products, I understand why they are called hallucinations. But as a technologist, as a computer scientist, I don't know. I don't know about it. Because when a model hallucinates, it is technically doing exactly what it was supposed to do. A model is, the idea of a model is to guess what the next token may be. And that's what it does. The models, they are not underpinned into any sense of truth. They're not really, that's not what they are designed to do. They are designed to just guess what the next token is going to be. So I don't know. I don't feel like it's a bug in a technical sense when a computer hallucinates. I think it's we as humans, we have to really check those things and understand those things. I think we can fine tune a model, giving it enough examples so that it will not hallucinate in your context, but by default, the model is just going to spit out what it thinks the next token is going to be. But I think even with fine tuning, we must check what's being generated by the AI. I think that is a key step, and I don't think that it's actually just about AI. I think we have to check the results of important decisions, even if it's a human that gave you that. Even if you pay a lot of money for a contractor, checking and making sure that things are aligned with your application. I think it's pivotal. I think it's very important.
From my understanding, is the model performs some kind of stochastic prediction. So using probabilities, it predicts what's the most likely answer to your question. And it also predicts what's the next word to type on based on what's most likely to fit in there. And every now and then it fits in something which is stochastically right, but also humanly very wrong. And I think maybe the second aspect of hallucination is that the model does tend to make up things. So it may say that it got its insight from this book, and sometimes the book doesn't exist, or it's changed the name, or it didn't actually get its insight from the book.
It's how the model was trained, and I think the model was trained with data that says that after making a claim, people often show where that claim comes from, but it's not necessarily being trained on knowing that source must exist. The AI is pretty much created to make responses that look human, that look natural, that look acceptable. And I think that is why it's very important. Those two things. One is fine tuning your model, be it with like the specific prompt or adding the right things into the context window. And the second, which is very important step, it would be fact checking those responses. And I think it's a human thing. Like the more energy you put in, the best results you take out.
I find this prompt very helpful, and I came across it in a podcast with AI researchers. So I trust the source. But if you tell the model, this job is very important, it matters a lot that you get the output right, it's less likely to make errors and hallucinate, and it produces better results. I don't think it's a strategy which will work in the long term, but in the short term, just by making ChatGPT believe that your job depends on the output makes ChatGPT work a little bit harder to have a higher quality output, which is bizarre and very very clever and also very human. Maybe I think if someone told if you asked me for some advice and you said that this advice could mean that you're going to get a promotion or you're going to get fired, I'm going to be very careful with what advice I give you because I know it's a high stakes situation. So it's interesting how a strategy which works for human beings, an emotional strategy, also works very well for these models.
It does. It's those models were created with data produced by us human beings, so it just makes sense.
Maybe zooming out a little bit, thinking about all of us want to use AI to create impact in the world. I know there's frustrations that organizations aren't adopting it, which opens up risks for the organizations, both with being left behind, but also data and privacy, because people are going to use it anyway. What steps do you think organizations should take to get AI ready, so to speak?
Yeah, that's a big one. I feel like it's important for organizations to have a policy for AI. It's important to think about it, and it's what you said. People will use it because it's helpful. So making sure that people will use it in a way that it's safe, it's super important. I feel like the heart of the thing for organization is on the data. I think an organization will be AI ready when they are able to recognize what their data is, what data is unique and specific for their business, be it a spreadsheet somewhere or documentation about the company's values or the company's principles. I think that data will become more and more the competitive advantage that a company may have, because everyone has access to ChatGPT. Everyone can ask ChatGPT to create something. But the data that is specific for your domain, specific for your region, specific for your customers and in your suppliers, I think that is something that only your company will have. So identifying that data, keeping it safe, and making best use of that data is very important for an organization to be AI ready. And the second one is taking care of the relationships. I think that is another aspect that AI's the agents and AI are not very good at, which is what we call the human touch, right? Like reaching out to your suppliers and reaching out to your customers, being proactive. And being kind, doing the human things, like maybe sending flowers. An AI will not necessarily know that. And an AI won't know the difference about sending flowers to all your customers and sending flowers only to some of your customers. And we as humans that have been in the business for a long time, we know it, we can feel it. And I think that is also a competitive advantage.
Awesome. I love that reflection, and just keeping in mind our data, which is our biggest asset at this moment, with more and more of our functions being automated, and how we understand the value of our own data and store it in ways that are helpful and supportive for other functions of our business. Such an important point, and I hope more organizations start adopting that strategic lens.
It's very important, and being able to identify the data that is important, and it's not always obvious. Sometimes it's obvious that a spreadsheet is data, but it's not very obvious that your email history is also data. Knowing how specific customers like to be communicated with, that is very important data. And if you as an organization can leverage that data, I think you can really scale up the impact that you can have.